This video is geared towards service-based business owners, and by the time you're done watching this video, you will have a better understanding of pricing that project that's a little bit outside of your norm. And really by the time you get done watching it, you might just be like, duh. Hi, my name is CM Williams, video content creator and video marketing specialist, and today we're going to talk about pricing your time. And the advice I'm about to give does come with a bit of a prerequisite. You'll at least want to have a price on your most basic thing you do on your business. Like for me, that's basic camera operation. And if you don't have that, don't worry, I have a bit of advice. Just sort of get a gauge on, people in your area, in your state, in your city that have a similar skill set to you. Skill level, doing what you do, try to get a gauge on their prices. And if you're in one of those professions where it's pretty tough to get pricing from your competitors, like it's just not out there for you to see, you can do what I did when I first went to ATL. Don't be afraid to make a fake email. Reach out to a few people, say, hey, I'm with XYZ team, we're trying to budget for this promo. If you're interested, pass me your day and half day rates. And then boom, you start getting replies with rates. You take those, you average them out. And this is of course after you research the people that you're asking for a price, like I said, to see if they kind of match your skill set, balance that with the bills you might have, and boom, you got a basic rate. All right, for me, when I first moved here, I landed around $250 half day, $400 full day. It's now gone up to just a bit to $300 half day, $500 full day. And that's like basic camera operation. I'm not bringing lights. I'm not bringing an assistant. The only audio you're getting is from my camera. Like, that's my most basic offering. Now, enough about me. So after you get this anomaly of a request from a potential client, stop. You don't feel obligated to give them a number right away. Ask them to send you an email, pretty much detailed with every duty they'll want you to do for this different-ish project that they're offering you. That not only gives you both transparency on what your roles are going to be, because you want that to be clear. Be transparent about your roles way up front. You don't want to get into the project and all of a sudden you're being asked to do things that you didn't agree to and you're not getting paid for it. But yeah, ask them to write down all of the duties they expect of you, and then come back with a number after you've kind of sat, really put some thought and some math into what your time is worth for this project. And the reason for that sort of prerequisite is because you're going to base that number on the things you already do on your day-to-day that get you income. So even if you don't have a base rate, so let's just say you're a painter, a beat maker, producer, when you sit down and make that piece of art, or you sit down and make your music, which is a piece of art, and you put a price on it, that's you putting a price on your time. That's what you decided is how much your time is worth for that project. This is even assuming only one person buys it. You were willing to charge this much for that amount of time that you put into making your beat or making your piece of art. Because what you don't want is for this project to interrupt your cash flow. You either want this new project to slide right in, no interruption, continue to make you your money, or enhance the amount of money you make, since there probably are some new skill sets required from you to perform said project. The goal is not to have these different projects get in the way of what you're already doing and lose you money, but you have to charge them the way you do any other project. Otherwise, it's going to be pretty tough for you to prioritize and even get excited about doing a project in the first place, because now it's a burden, it's not paying you as much, and you much rather be doing what you're already doing in the first place. You don't want to be deprioritizing the client's project because you didn't put the right price on it. And let's just say the project is so different that you do come down on the price. If you're going to do that, this project has to have another benefit aside from monetary benefit. Like, this has to be you learning a new skill set that's going to make you 3 times more in the future type of thing. But do not discount a project and only get monetary value from it. If you discount a project, make sure you're getting something else from that project aside from money, whether that be all out creative control, or you're experimenting and they allow you to do that, which kind of goes along with creative control, but be getting something else. And I'm speaking from a creative standpoint, but apply this to whichever profession you're in. Do not discount a project and the only thing you're getting from that project is money. There has to be something else you get from a discounted project to help fill in the gap for the money you're not getting. Anyway, a lot of examples I use, just because it's the world I live in, are going to be from the creative's perspective. So work with me and just kind of take whatever profession you're doing and kind of shape that into the way your life works. So let's just say you were asked to produce a podcast because you're a beat maker. Somebody got one of your Instagram and they think that you'd be a good fit to help them produce and add all the cool things to their podcast. After you've been sent all that's going to be asked of you for that podcast, sit and really think about how much just one episode will take to produce. Take all those duties and compare that to how much time it takes you on average to make a beat. I know that's all over the place, but on average, just when you make a beat, it takes about this long and you charge this much for it. What's that number? All right. So after you've been sent all your duties and you've kind of taken how much time you think it's going to take you to do all those things for one episode versus what you usually do to make a beat, then that's what you're going to charge per episode. Again, we're not interrupting your cash flow. We're keeping everything flowing. And again, I can't run through every scenario for every industry, but I mean, the basic formula is you kind of take your basic rates and multiply that by what you'll be doing for a said weird, different anomaly project. I'm no math teacher, but that's your equation. And you can even work something into your contract where you're allowed to modify things at a certain benchmark because you've reached a point to where, you know, you're really rolling, you guys have found your groove and you know what it takes to produce an episode, and you decide, okay, I probably need to be charging a little bit more because this is a little harder than I thought. Maybe you can work that in your contract. But yeah, since your initial price was technically only an estimate, maybe work something into your contract to where you're allowed to modify that at a certain point. Or for our podcast example, maybe you're allowed to modify it after that first episode's produced and everyone has a better idea of what it takes to produce a podcast episode. Either that or have the client pay you a deposit based on your quote and then bill them for the rest of that time afterwards. This one's pretty tough because a lot of people who especially have budgets and are planning ahead, they're gonna want a locked in number. That happens very often and there's always kind of a tug of war on, you know, locked in quote. It's gonna vary type thing. And while that is common practice, it is usually a little harder to get a client to agree to be billed for the time at the end as opposed to that locked in number, just because it's hard to plan for that. But here's what you can do about that, because it's usually okay as long as you allow them to plan for it. If you're at the initial meeting and you say, all right, it's gonna be $1,000 an episode, but since we're all new at this, I just leave a little bit more money in the budget as a cushion, just in case it, you know, takes a little more to produce it. As long as they can plan for it, they're usually okay with it. There's a lot of companies, a lot of clients, they're usually given X amount to do it all. And they have to block off all that money that's budgeting. But usually if they can at least plan for the expense, there won't be much pushback. Just always be transparent with your client. You're gonna hear me say that persistently across a lot of videos. That's just gonna result in a better time of you going back and forth to complete the project you've been hired to do. It's gonna save you to just counting the days when this project is over and save you from having to potentially fire your client. Yes, you can fire your client, but that's a discussion for a different video. But the very next video is gonna be about how all free projects are not created equally. So subscribe, turn notifications on so you see when that video drops, and share this video with a friend in need. And if you are an entrepreneur, I encourage you to check out my video on the content that you should be posting to drive more traffic to you and your social media channels. Until next time.